Thank you everyone for joining. Today we're going to be talking about Lightspeed Signal. We're going to tell you a little bit about our new product launch, the work that we put into the beta program, the work that kind of came out of our customer base in developing this product, and give everyone an opportunity to see everything that we've been working on and why we're excited for it. There'll be time for questions at the end. And with that, we'll go ahead and give it a start. Rob, you want to drive us through? Today's speakers, you're getting really two of the best speakers you could possibly have for something like this. I know everyone's excited about a Thursday lunchtime webinar, and so are we. So I'm Chris Travis. I run sales here at Lightspeed. I have for the last 18 years. Rob, go ahead.
Hi, and I'm Rob Chambers. I lead the product team here at Lightspeed.
So we're going to talk to you a little bit about, when we get to the next slide here, the challenges that are impacting not just the classroom, although, we have a wide variety of attendees on today's webinar. We have current customers, we have prospective customers. More than likely, given that Lightspeed's been in this space for 25 years, we may have former customers too who are looking to come back to Lightspeed. And so what we'll talk about today is the feedback we've had from over 25 million users and 6,000 school districts that we support globally on the challenges that they face day to day and how unique those are in the K-12 space. As a reminder, Lightspeed has been doing this for 25 years. We only sell in K-12. And so every one of our products, be it WebFilter, Classroom, or Signal, really had the origin with staff like yourselves that are attending this. And every iteration, everything that we put in our development cycles comes from that feedback. And then once we discuss that briefly, we'll take a look at the Signal interface. Rob will give us a walkthrough, and you'll see why we're so excited about it. So Lightspeed, for many of you that are current Lightspeed customers, you already know this. For those of you that are prospective Lightspeed customers, you may not. Although we find statistically that even our current customers sometimes are unaware of all the different offerings that we have. And so Lightspeed, as I said previously, has been doing this for 25 years, helping school districts provide a safe education learning environment. And it's unique. And I'm not telling you anything you don't know as an attendee. You have a unique set of challenges. We support clients with 400,000 devices. We support clients with 40 devices. And they have the same challenges given their sizes, right? They don't have the staff that they need. They don't have the infrastructure that they want, and they don't have the time that any of us want. And so Lightspeed was started and is known for web filtering, which we continue to do today and continue to iterate on as device proliferation has and one-to-one has become the norm. Those devices leave your network in many, many cases. From that, we branched into classroom management because we found that teachers were looking at the backs of devices instead of at students' faces. And so continuing to iterate on making the classroom experience easier for teachers and students, but also not letting it end at the classroom wall, and letting that ability for classes to be taught in a variety of different places safely and efficiently, and gaining that classroom instructional time back. You'll see that icon at the top there, student safety, has become important as the technology has caught up with really the market. It allows us to offer a student safety platform that school districts can afford, and it allows us to monitor student devices and make sure that there are not potential harm against themselves or harm against the school district. That's been a fast-growing product of ours that integrates with the filter and classroom. You see on the compliance and EdTech ROI side, we have our Digital Insight product, which many of you are using, which allows you to look at the utilization of these applications that have just exploded within school districts. Your average school district today is using more than 450 applications on a daily basis. How are they tracked? How are they is the money being spent appropriately? Are you getting the efficacy that you think or need from those products? And what happened with all of these products interacting, be it IT departments, student services, curriculum and instruction, safety departments, police departments, everyone at the district in some cases has a hand in one of our products or perhaps the platform. What came out of that is really the need for a different view, right? We know where we're at. This is the second consecutive year, and I'm sure at the end, many districts will say, oh, actually it's the third or it's the fifth or it's the seventh. But it's the second consecutive year where COSN has said it's 10 to 15% budget cuts coming to school districts. And I know some are dealing with much more than that. And so what Signal is about is really giving you time back, giving you that efficiency back, gaining back part of your IT core staff's time that you may be spent troubleshooting devices, troubleshooting applications, or troubleshooting connectivity. The next slide, please. So Rob, do you want to walk through kind of the genesis of this and what we did with our beta program?
Yeah, absolutely. So, on the product side, we, through a variety of things, whether it's, direct customer calls, ed tech events that we go to, participation in our district advisory or product advisory boards, our job is to listen and to listen to what things that you are dealing with, and then figure out how we can help you solve them. And that's really where this came from. There's really three areas, as Chris said, and we're gonna drill down and show those in greater detail. But they came from themes. So, one of the themes that we kept hearing about was, we are so dependent in the schools now on these apps, whether it is my learning management platform, or tools like Office 365 or Google Docs, or so the productivity tools, or just things that I need to in order to run my day, my student information system, my business system, and those kinds of things. And the dependence on those means everybody in the district are using them. And oftentimes, if there's a problem, IT said the first thing I find out is when my help desk lights up and I'm flooded with calls. And now I've got to process those calls, and then I've got to reach out to, is it a network problem? Is it a problem with that application? Is that hosted application down outside external my district, and there's nothing I can even do? And so, they have to spend time, one, just finding out, processing that bulk of calls that's coming in, and then do the troubleshooting, determine where it's going to go, and then make the announcement to the schools, hey, not picking on them, but Canvas is down, so let's not use the LMS today. You need to, teachers, you need to find an alternate method. All of that, traditionally can take, an hour or longer to get through, right? And that's a significant amount of time for many staff, and is, as even that earlier slide said, impacting the classroom. And so you're going to see when we actually drive into the demo how we have gone to help that. On the device side, another thing we were hearing very commonly is, I have an asset management system that lets me know what devices are in use. I have an MDM or some similar tool that, helps me make sure that the devices are provisioned properly. But what I don't have easy access information to is what's going on with that device. Are they actually being used? Maybe we're doing a device refresh, and I want to allocate the limited funds that we have to those devices that are most, I guess, worthy of it, most, that are being used the most, or maybe overtaxed to the point that they're not being able to deliver the content or whatever efficiently. So being able to look at those things on the device side. Similarly, we're all looking at end of school now. A common problem we heard around devices is, well, everybody's Chromebook looks exactly the same. So we come to the end of the year and we have to spend all this time determining, well, which kid actually, do they have their assigned Chromebook, and does that match what's in my asset inventory system? Or have Chris and Rob switched laptops or Chromebooks, halfway through the year and nobody even noticed, right? And so that was, again, a significant time sink. And then on the internet side, we've had the tool available for a while that kind of came out of the COVID era of tracking hotspots and remote connectivity. But of course, we're all back in schools now, and wanting to solve internet problems. We're hearing things like, I get random reports from this school that internet is slow. And what does slow mean, right? Or internet's down, without the really data to back it up. And they have to spend hours of time digging through potentially network logs and access point logs and maybe firewall logs and all of that. And so we heard these problems through these various events. We kind of took that together, and went back to schools, and you can see some of the schools that helped us in the design phases and the beta phases here, to the, yeah, that sounds cool. And then, we took that, continued to refine those designs, and then launched the beta. And that's where we got the very pleasing thing on the product side is to, yes, that's exactly what we need. That we hear that we did it right? We nailed it. We solved the problem. So that's why I'm very excited to launch this. It has been very successful beta. Everybody helped us really fine tune that and ensure that we were truly meeting the needs of schools. And then this product went to GA earlier this week, and it's just very exciting to launch it in a relatively short period of time. Our team really heard this and heard the challenges schools are facing around budgets and time, and how could we bring this to market in a way that's effective.
Rob, I think we can jump to the next slide. I think that the difference here, and one of the things that we're so fortunate about at Lightspeed, is if you think about that beta program, like I said in earlier today, we have over 6,000 districts that we support, 25 million students, and to have several million students worth of networks participate in a beta program gives us just such a unique advantage in that really districts of all sizes, Oregon, California, Washington, Texas, Virginia, gives us an advantage to really put the product in a real world scenario. And like I mentioned, that feedback is so critical to us, not just in our development process and actually moving towards GA, which again happened this week, but more so lining up. Did the feature set that we thought we needed, is that really what our customers need? And more importantly for everyone, and we'll talk through it now or in the demo, what's coming next, right? Because for those of you that are Lightspeed clients, you know this, every several weeks and every several months, we're doing iterations on the product. You're getting new releases, new features, enhancements. And so those are critical to feeding the roadmap to make sure that we're on track and developing and delivering features that save time, gain efficiency, and are purpose-built for K-12.
All right. I'm going to stop sharing the presentation and jump over to the product. Okay, so I'm going to start here and kind of walk through the demo, but I wanted to start here when we're on the apps section first and talk about, really what we heard and what drove and now what you see in these reports. So, I mentioned, the first thing you see is, if traditionally in the school, like if something has gone down, help desk lights up, right? You have a number of reports coming in from throughout your organization that this app is down. And now you have to determine, well, who is it down for? One of the examples I'll use that kind of came out of our early research studies and leading into the beta with this was a larger district that was a part of this, was telling us about a problem that they had where Google services were down, right? And they were, but everybody in the IT department, even though, and there's a very large district, so they're spread across multiple locations. Everybody's saying it's working fine. We can't figure it out. And it took them a significant amount of time to realize what had happened was this district actually has two separate internet connections. About half the district goes out one and half the district goes out the other. And there was a firewall rule that had got misdeployed to one of the firewalls. And so it ended up blocking those Google services just if you happen to be going out that firewall. And so, all of that troubleshooting takes time, right? You gotta figure out, okay, I'm getting reports is down, but I'm not seeing it down, those kinds of things. And so one of the things that we show here is, okay, we are seeing outages, and these are coming from our agents, right? So this is not a down detector or a report or anything crowdsourced or anything like that. Our agents, which run across, all the operating systems you have in your district, are providing this information in real time. Like, I cannot get to this website anymore. It is, I'm getting error codes or timeouts. And then where is that coming from? Because we're integrated in with your directory structure, your student information system, we're gonna be able to tell you, okay, oh, it's 12 of your schools impacted. And then I go and I look at that list and I go, oh, I know all of these schools go out firewall B. Maybe I have a problem on firewall B. The other thing we show you here, the number of users that are impacted. So is this a significant outage or a minor outage? And then one of the great things is, as Chris mentioned, we have customers, all over 6,000 customers and millions of students out there. We know what's going on outside of your district as well. And so we're going to tell you, oh, this is not just down for you, this is down for everyone. And so you can very quickly get to that point and reduce your troubleshooting. You don't have to look to your network. You don't have to troubleshoot that firewall. You don't have to call around to the neighboring districts to find out if they're having trouble with it, or post on like the K-12 subreddit, or those kinds of things that we all see people doing, right? We're going to tell you this in real time. And then, over time, we're going to build statistics for you. So things like, what is that average uptime? So, Chris mentioned ROI with our Insight product, but also, it comes time to renegotiate these contracts. We're going to be able to tell you things like, well, what has the uptime been of that tool across the time in your district? Also, this is a much harder one to troubleshoot than a true outage, right? Is average latency. We're going to talk about this more on the internet side, but also that kind of report of it's slow. Maybe that slow internet report was an app that class was using that is experiencing a higher than average latency right now. And so, all of this is information designed to streamline your troubleshooting and get you to those answers faster. You don't have to depend on a status page being posted by the company to know that they're having some sort of large outage. Or again, posts or email threads or other districts kind of coordinating, you can know, and those agents are going to report to you, hey, we're seeing it down. Get ahead of that at the help desk. So now if this app is down, when that help desk calls start to come in, yeah, you can say, yes, we know, we're aware, it's a outage beyond our district. We're working with the vendor to bring it back online. We'll announce it, right? And so that gives you that ability to be more proactive, less reactive in a much faster time.
Rob, I think it's important to note, right? In the theoretical and in the design phase, we had heard this was important. We hypothesized this was going to be very useful. And actually, during the beta, we had a school district whose AP testing app went down.
Yep.
The number to that app was down. Any communications to that app was down. The team was able to know it, alert the areas involved, and actually sort of modify the testing without having to sit there and attempt to just blindly call that testing service. They knew the duration of the outage. They knew and how how widespread it was. And so that was a great example of sort of the real world coming through in the beta program, validating what we had heard in the design phase.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris. So now I'll kind of, after kind of step back and kind of show you what it looks like in our environment. So, the issue here too is you can monitor the apps that you are using in your environment. And so, you get a dashboard here that kind of shows you, are you having any incidents right now? What's operational? What's not? Adding an app is very simple for you. It's one of the things that we do because we have the breadth of products that Chris is talking about. We already have our Insight tool, right, that knows about apps and what URLs and things that they use. And so we're leveraging that data that we already have here for you. So you have a pre-built app library where you can go in and find those apps that are important to you, and automatically add them in here. And you don't have to worry about, well, what URLs and things does Kahoot use on the backside? What do I need to monitor? All of that is automatically handled for you. Once you have it added, the next thing that we're going to do is look at notifications. And who do you want to be notified in the event that there is a problem with that app? Maybe it is your help desk, or it could be your field techs at the schools, so you can get that information out to them quickly. So you can add the number of people that are going to get incident notifications if there is an outage, and that will come through and be sent out to them automatically. And then again, once you have that app monitored, now we're going to show you what over time, what incidents have had, what is that latency, what is that uptime, but also you can scroll down and see any specific incidents that have happened over the time that this product has been in use. So again, really just it's meant to be streamlined, easy. You don't have to worry about what those domains are, what those URLs are. We handle that, and we will maintain those lists for you. And then now you just get to shorten your troubleshooting time. Before we go on to devices, anything you wanted to add, Chris?
No, I think in the interest of time, let's jump to devices, because during the beta program, I think this was the area that resonated quite a bit with our customer base.
Absolutely. Devices is one of those areas that, and I think, a lot of it, time of year, again, we're dealing with those collection of devices and seeing those kinds of things. And so here I have a list of my devices. We can import that in from your asset system. So we can, get the information automatically in terms of the serial numbers and who those devices are assigned to. And then we can see things like, okay, this district has been off district 44 times. Maybe that's a device that's not supposed to leave, right? Depending on, are you a go home or stay on campus kind of policy. Those 4, unassigned logins, that's that device that's being shared around and being used by somebody that it's not assigned to. The other one I want to talk about is proxy and VPN detection, because many of you have or are aware of our filter tool that will stop, access to those kinds of things as the attempt to access the internet. But because, again, this is an agent on the device and looking at the device itself, now we're telling you, hey, this student has put these proxy tools on and is attempting to use them on the device. And so that gives you, again, another view and another piece of information. You don't have to worry or wait until they try to use that proxy and get the the blocked content report or drill through those filter reports to find it. Right here in this device, we're going to tell you, hey, this student's using a VPN or proxy on their device in an attempt to bypass the filter. So again, it's really more about streamlining and troubleshooting that troubleshooting information for you. Looking here, I can see all of my devices. This is one of the things that that we heard was a big need. So I'm looking at this. I want to see all the devices have been inactive for the last 7 days. Who's not using them, right? You're thinking about right now, you're collecting devices and in your device refresh cycle, preparing for new devices for next year. Maybe you've got a school or a class that those devices sat in the closet all the time and they're just not being used. Well, that's going to impact, maybe where you deploy them for the next school year, or what devices get refreshed, or which devices get assigned to that use case. So this gives you that greater detail of when are my devices being used and who's using them, as opposed to just a raw inventory of where they are assigned.
Rob, during the beta, it come up, right? It was sort of a student welfare issue where a device had been unseen for 7 days. They escalated that to the principal. Was the student not in school, missing? Was the device missing? And so that district was appreciative of how they could go about a second layer of troubleshooting on just device location in general.
Absolutely. Another district that we worked with during the beta is using all of this information and pulling together, the device, who it's assigned to, and is it showing up on campus, and correlating that against their attendance data and understanding, like, okay, are these kids really here? Maybe they got marked absent, but I'm showing that user was logged into that device at school at that time, and using that as even a way to do some attendance recovery and things. And so a lot of very valuable information at your fingertips here.
Rob, I want to make sure we get to the internet portion too, given the fact.
Am I getting too long-winded?
Well, we have 5 minutes left. I think.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But let's highlight this because it's so important because of the way it complements our web filter and the ability to look at those, again, device level VPN or proxies.
Yeah. So again, kind of device detail, you can get a lot of information about how it's being used, where it's being used. If that device is lost, we're going to show you its last location. If it comes back online, that'll update and those kinds of things. So help you in that troubleshooting as well. And then we did talk about, things like being able to see VPN detections off campus and all that. But let me go ahead and jump to internet here in my tour. All right. And in the internet section, if you maybe used and looked at our previous product in the digital equity product in the past, again, focused on those devices off campus. Now we're going to give you that off campus, but also on campus. And a really big use case here that we heard was, again, that report of like internet slow, or another common one was, I keep getting a report that the internet doesn't work from this teacher, these students. Well, because we bring all that information together, we're correlated with your student information system. Where we helped this district troubleshoot was, it turns out that this class at this time of day was all reporting internet problems, and that it's coming from the agency able to pinpoint that down. And what they actually found out was the teacher was firing up the microwave during lunch, and it was interfering with the access point and causing a poor, degraded internet connection for all the users in that class. But with normal troubleshooting, by the time the tech would get out there to look at it, everything was working fine. No, there were no problems on the bandwidth. There was no interference. Signal looked good. But being able to pinpoint that down, that, hey, I'm seeing real-time error data from these students in this class at this time, allow them to streamline that troubleshooting and find that problem. Again, you can look at things like by your internet provider. Another use case with this has been customers that want to look at their hotspots that are in use in the district, and maybe find out, well, if I'm in this neighborhood and I'm on the AT&T hotspot, I'm getting poor connectivity. Maybe I need to use the Verizon hotspots in this neighborhood. And again, just ensuring that your students get the access they need, whether they're on campus or off. And I know I've gone quickly through that internet section, but I want to make sure I got through that in time. Chris, anything you want me to add?
No, I think that's great. We have a few questions that I think are worth addressing. Not that all of them are not worth addressing, but in the interest of time, the first question we had is, do we have to be subscribed to Insight in order to auto add the apps to monitor?
You don't. Now, of course, we'd love you to look at the other products in our suite. No, we are leveraging the data we have at Insight for you, and using that to help you build these apps.
The other question we had is, when devices aren't one-to-one and more of a shared pool, how far back is the history on the usage, and how detailed is that information?
Yeah, the history on the usage in the UI will display back to 90 days. But if you have some other use cases, we can work with you on a data API feed that would allow you to pull that data in and look at it longer as well.
Last question we had, or the next question we had, was, is Signal a different license cost? And then there was a question on, if so, was the proxy and VPN detection not included in the web filter? I'll take it in two parts. The first part is, yes, it's an additional cost. It's a new product. There's a much more comprehensive demo that we can't fit into the 15 minutes that we had allotted there. But it's again, tracking the applications, the devices, and your connectivity. Rob, I want you to speak to sort of the VPN proxy detection and how that's different than the filters version, given the fact that we're filtering the network and the device level detection is separate.
Yeah. So this doesn't, if you have our filter product, it will still do all of the tools that around, proxy prevention, avoidance, all of those kinds of things, and blocking that and reporting it. We're not taking any of that functionality away. This enhances it. Again, the filter is looking at traffic that is going to the internet, and then making a policy decision and giving you the reporting based on that. What this is doing is looking at the device and seeing that, hey, they have rerouted their network IP, which is what a VPN or proxy is going to do, out to this external connection at the device level, right? That we're seeing that at the device level, not at the filter, not necessarily what traffic they're going to. The filter's still going to do its job, still going to block those proxies, do those kinds of things. But what we're showing you here is, this device is being rerouted at the network level, which is different than that internet connectivity that the filter is going to pick up. So the two combined give you a very comprehensive picture of those people that might be attempting to use those proxies or VPNs within your environment.
Rob, we're at time. I want to let everyone know, thank you very much for attending. Any other questions that we have in the chat, we will follow up with those externally. If you have questions, please talk to Lightspeed, and everyone on this will be that has attended this webinar will be getting a follow-up email, and then from there we'll be happy to have any discussions on Signal or any other Lightspeed products. Thank you very much for attending.
Thank you for your time.